Okay, so this is the Drupal usability meeting for 2017, May the 30th, rather. And we just discussed that we want to look at some of the layout work that's going on and then talk about the change password fields not being possible to find, and then we'll see what else. Let's get started with layouts.
Okay, so last week, some people from the layouts channel sprinted on some of the mock-ups that we had for layouts, and so I'm just going to do a quick demo and then see what people think of what we have, and then see if people have any ideas. So let's see. So here I have a basic page set up, and we've added a layout field to it. And this layout field, once it appears on a node, triggers this content layout tab to appear in the top toolbar. And so we made this layout field for storage, and then also the content layout tab has been added here. And if you click on that tab, then it brings you into this new page that gives you the option to add sections and actually move the section I've added so you can see what you get on first click. So if there was no content on this landing page, this is what you would see. And then if you click into add section, and now this pulls up the settings tray with some basic layouts. And if you click in, say, 2-column, that adds a new section that has 2 columns. And now you can add blocks into it. And one of the goals is to also have blocks for the fields on the content too. So if you had, say, an article that had an image and also text, then you could add those fields in and they would pop up in the same place. But I'll show blocks here. So if you click Add Block, that pulls up the settings tray, and you can add the available blocks to the page. You can see the descriptions there. So that adds the block. I'll go ahead and add another. And then sections can be added above or below. So if we wanted to have a 3-column section below, we can do that. And now they can be added in between as well. I'll add some quick blocks to here. So once I save, we can see what this looks like. Just that. Okay. So then if we go up here and save layout, okay. Well, that should have had the 3. I'll have to check them. But you can see the 2-column layout, and we also have the ability to move blocks from one to the other. And then save. And that's the basic functionality of what we've got going right now. And I'd love to hear what people think so far.
So this is for crafting a custom layout specific to this page. How is this related to picking from an existing layout for this page, or how is that gonna be integrated in this, or how would people go about that?
So like a default layout system?
Yeah, if you have a set of so if you are a publisher and you have a set of layouts for your pages, then you would likely not want your site builders to play around and create these, but you would likely want to have a very similar quick way to pick a layout and put your blocks in the same way.
Yeah, so this is definitely more of a landing page builder. So people can pick from different layouts. If you had just one set layout to put blocks into, then you could have those just available on this basic layout. So instead of having just the 3-column, 2-column, 1-column, you could have more advanced layouts there, and then at that point people would want to just select one of them instead of stacking them.
Yeah. So then the add sections would be named something else, etc. I was wondering if how would this cater for the use case of I have a preset list of layouts that I want to support and not let people play around adding sections. Because this is very cool for building a layout. But that trying to cater for that, I think, would be nice. Very important, rather. My other feedback, if nobody else is jumping in, is the add block link is only appearing at the top of the section. Is that intentional because you can move your blocks around anyway? It's not at the bottom.
We've talked a bit about ideally the way we'd like to handle it is having that appear like a plus above and below depending on where you're hovering. So you could add above or below or in between other blocks. But it does have the drag and drop, so at least for now, getting the basic functionality out, having the one link seemed to have the least clutter.
And what will happen if you click Add Block now? Would there be a new block added above this search form?
Yeah, so if we clicked Add Block now, and I just add a quick powered by Drupal block. Yeah, that's what I figured. So right now it's going below, and then you would have to move it above if you wanted it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a bit confusing.
Yeah.
I think, it's also, once the blocks are there, it's kind of difficult to see where a block ends and what is the next block. So that you can drag and drop of them isn't quite visible at the moment. But what actually confused me at the moment is the fact that the save block, the save button is in this top menu, where the things we currently only have in there is the turning on the manage toolbar or going to the user profile. So starting using that one as a place for buttons for saving and actions strikes me kind of confusing. But I'm not quite sure where else you would put it at the moment. It's just that on all other pages in the admin interface or for making content, the save button is always at the very bottom, or in any modular thing that is on top of it. So this is very inconsistent to what we currently have.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering whether users will get
one idea we had there, this is kind of an interim state, was if edit mode, the idea was you would only get to content layout if edit mode had been triggered. And so content layout would appear, but the whole toolbar would have changed to that well, to white is what we have right now for edit mode. And so one idea we had is that maybe that would draw more attention to the toolbar area, because you've gone into edit mode and then selected content layout.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that may help.
Are there any other places where we think of putting the kind of save buttons up into that area? It is currently, because currently the function of that top toolbar seems to be something for changing what you see on the page, but not actual actions.
Yeah, it's navigation, right? It's not triggering.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is basically where the current toolbar setup starts to break, right? Because I was reviewing settings tray, I think, and same there. I guess this replaces or supersedes the place block link we have as an experimental module now, which also adds an action button to this area. And then, yeah, imagine the combination of those two, right? Settings tray and or this layout building. Well, it's using settings tray in a bit, in a way, right? It's probably quite hard to. I'm not sure if it's really fixable in the current setup. The toolbar probably needs some kind of extension or rethink to accommodate these kinds of actions. So maybe it's okay. It's not okay, but maybe it's okay for now to at least get a grip on. I mean, that we have a save layout and a cancel layout and an edit button means that we need, at least we know we need to place these somewhere, right? So at least this surfaces what kind of actions we have to accommodate for. How to best do that, probably need some work. But that probably goes beyond just, not just, but goes beyond layout building and or settings tray triggers and or others.
Yeah, and also if because the toolbar, those menu items can be hidden as well. Is that correct? So then you probably don't see the save and cancel layout button in that case.
The toolbar module is optional, so people could choose to disable it. I'm not sure if that's even taken into account. Maybe toolbar is a required module for this feature, but I don't know.
Yeah, we made settings tray and toolbar right now dependencies for this one.
So no layout building without settings tray and toolbar.
Okay.
At this point, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Which is defensible, I think. I mean, you need a place to put these actions.
So what's the reason not on the page itself? I didn't really get it.
Well, for one, when the page gets really long, and a lot of landing pages get quite long, it seems like it's helpful to have kind of an edit area, which is where you're focused on the actual tasks that's separate from the actual building. So it's not at the bottom of a long page where you may miss it.
But we have on other pages, when they're really long, we still have the save button at the bottom.
Yeah, that's a memorable pattern, I think. And also, I think nowadays scrolling is not really a problem for people to find out what it is. And if they already set this page, I assume they understand. They have an overview of the whole thing. So it could. I think the main problem I'm feeling is people probably need to find where this button is, and probably they are not aware of this. So they, So I think that could be a problem in my opinion. But I guess we are now just giving some feedback, and so you guys can take this into account. We don't have to reach any agreement or anything, right?
Yeah, I think I think that's helpful.
Yeah, and another thing, I think I really like this drag and drop thing, but maybe we without your demonstration, I wouldn't realize it. So normally with this drag and drop, we have icon in front of it. Maybe there's something to consider adding as well, to give people
Yeah, it sounds like it would be really helpful to have something around each of the blocks. Also, I think something that shows, especially for blocks like this, some visibility and also the configuration, because right now that's hidden away and you have to hover it. So yeah, some kind of wrapper for each of the blocks that shows what you can edit. It sounds like that could be helpful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
one other thing I noticed is that a lot of the interactions that happen in the settings tray have this edit icon in the settings tray, which is not clear. What would that do? Like when you add a block.
Oh, this?
That one.
At the top?
The same happens when you add the block, when you add the section. I think you always get that.
Yep, I think that's the default icon for the settings tray. So yeah, we should look at that more.
Yeah, the styling was also a bit off here and there. There was a much smaller top bar for the settings tray and some other minor things, but that's nothing major there.
Let's see. I want to show a small screenshot. Let's see. Am I allowed to screen share or not? Oh, sorry. Maybe yes. Okay.
I just stopped.
Not sure if it's letting me at the moment.
I think we can share at the same time, I think.
Yeah, the link is not working for me. Is this a Safari thing? Nope. I'll upload it to the Slack room. Basically, when I was reviewing the settings tray, I let me first do that. 2 things at a time. I can't do that. Add a file from your computer.
Can you hear me now?
Hey.
Yeah, finally. Okay, just one thing about the design. I thought that the dots between the difference between the dots from the regions themselves and the at another region are too similar. I mean, they look like they are regions also.
You mean the region with this add section, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I have the same feeling as well. Maybe, yeah, there can be more contrast to tell this is not a region we are adding blocks in.
Exactly. Maybe it could be like having a gray background instead of having dots. I don't know, just some ideas. Just they look like quite similar.
Yeah.
Okay. And could everyone see that some of them were blue and some of them were gray?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
useful.
Emily, maybe if you share screen again, you can open that screen shot I added in Slack.
Okay.
think Daniel, hi Daniel, pointed it out the time we reviewed settings tray in itself, where it had only a small blue button floating to the left, and the rest, just the width of the button was what was blue, and then the rest of that line, that zone, was a white area. So here I was thinking, well, maybe we need to indicate the mode of being in editing mode with a full width blue bar, and maybe that gives us space to provide the tools you can use for when you're editing or layouting or building. And maybe that, now I'm just thinking aloud, maybe that bar could float at the bottom of the screen and have a save button as well. Well, and that's it. That's all I had for that one.
Okay.
It's because, yeah, I have to evolve that a bit. But
Yeah,
it has sense. I mean, having a different tool in a different place. Navigation is at the top, and I don't know.
yeah,
yeah, it could work. I have to explore it.
Some nice thinking. Nice.
I also like the logic that navigation is on the top and saving things is at the bottom.
yeah. That's more lively.
Where to look.
Yeah.
I'll explore a bit.
But changing color, even if we move it down, I think it's nice to change the color. Even if we keep the navigation, just swap it for blue or something. And
yeah, yeah, this mode indicator of the whole page is in edit right now.
Yeah.
Basically framing it as in you're in editing mode.
Yeah, I think that
could be a good signal.
Important.
Yeah.
Any specific questions that are unanswered yet, Emily?
Yeah, I have a question. Emily, the things you're working on, will that be in core, or that will be a separate module for it? I think it's very useful for my projects, I think.
Yep, so the goal is that this would be in core.
Okay.
We're working on it right now as a fork of core so that we could put it back in.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
So this is part of the layout initiative, right? One of the strategically important areas of Drupal that we want to improve. So this is definitely something that is targeted to be included in core itself.
Yeah.
The path toward core can be different, but yeah, the goal is to add it to core itself.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it really looks really good. Good work.
Thanks. Awesome. Yeah, that covered a lot of different areas that I was looking for insight into, so that was really helpful. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Most welcome.
Thank you. So I think the next one that we've had was the change password fields.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe can share my screen and explain why I come to this issue.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm actually from Open Social, Drupal distribution for social platforms. And while we're designing, while we do usability testing, actually this is the part that user felt the most was a bit serious. People frustrated because they don't see the current password. So that's the issue, this issue actually. So because now when we change, for example, password and email address, user have to fill in the current password to be able to save everything. Even with the notification at the top, in user testing, everybody missed it and didn't understand what went wrong. So it's kind of serious, and we try to improve it in our own project. But I think it's also something maybe we can improve in core because there are more projects having the same issue. I've been through the discussion, and I see there are some proposals already. But our solution to solve this is actually like this. So this is one of the for example, you're editing your account. The tricky part for this is there can be more fields. I think when you edit it to account, for example, your full name, telephone number, whatever. What we do is in here, you can just editing whatever you want on this page, for example. Then when you try to save it, will pop up this current password field. And only when you add this current password, then you can apply the changes. And otherwise, it will stay on the same page until you fill in the right password. Of course, you can cancel it by close this and cancel this. So this is a way where put this current password in user's a path, other than putting on the same form. I do think this is a way we can improve this issue that people don't realize they need to put in password to save changes. And also in case when this page has other fields which doesn't require this current password, some like small details, I think the way we can implement it is when there are critical changes like password or email address, then this pop-up shows up. If it's not, people just save and it's applied. So this is kind of our solution to solve this problem. I would like to hear from everyone if this could be a solution to put in core to solve this problem, that people don't realize the current password when they're editing it.
I remember this discussion from a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
We discussed this before. I think we then had an agreement about moving out the new password field or the change password field to a separate form.
Oh yeah, then because if I was aware of this, then with for example, email address, this have the same issue, I think. Then we will also put email address into a separate form. And also I think putting it in a separate form, this will require many extra click on the same page. So for example, if I want to change email address and password at the same time, then I need to go through this. I think I need to save 3 times to apply all these changes. Well, now you only need to do it once. So that was that was the moment I think maybe there could be a different idea.
Yeah, but how often does that happen, that you want to change your email address and password in one go?
No, in one go is not even a problem. That's maybe not that likely. The problem is that we need
to confirm.
Well, yeah, we need confirmation. Well, you want to change your password.
Yeah.
Or you want to change your email address. And for both, you need to provide your current password as well.
Yeah.
And the problem is that we basically, if we want to make that smooth, you need to kind of like dynamically group the fields together that you need, right? Oh, you want to change your email address? Well, fill out your new email address. Oh, and your password, because we need to know it's you. Same for new password. And basically what Xenu does is, well, you can change what you want to change, but if we see that you change one of these fields, email or password, then we need to know your current password as well to confirm. So I think it's quite an elegant, possibly quite an elegant solution to basically not having to dynamically group the necessary fields together, depending on what you actually want to change.
Can you show it again, please?
Yeah, so it's like this. Yeah, just ignore the other buttons, please. But it's here. You will need to fill in your current password, and you can apply changes.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I thought, yeah. Thinking about this again, it is also a known pattern. For example, for deleting very important stuff, you get a pop-up and you have to type delete. MailChimp, for example, does that. Some other services as well. So.
I also like the pop-up because it means as the site builder or the users have the ability to actually order the fields on the profile page in whichever order is necessary for the current site.
Mm-hmm.
We now have the problem that name and email address, or username and email address, are always together at the top, together with the password, I think. So if we can solve this by having this as a pop-up, I think that would be useful. But I'm wondering how that works without JavaScript.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's also, I'm not sure if it is possible, but I think what we need to do is just to separate this confirmation from the form. This could be a separate page, in my opinion, to apply if JavaScript doesn't work, maybe we can navigate people to a separate page instead of the pop-up.
I think that's how it works right now, right? If modals aren't supported, you get
okay.
You get the page.
new pages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If only the confirmation is on a different page or in a pop-up, I think then that gives us much more freedom to actually, then work with the profiles as we want to.
Yeah. So there's a possibility to extend with more field. You can make them, like current password required or not. I think. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think it would be nice if in contract, for example, somebody can say, I want the confirmation pop-up for this field. So maybe we need an API edition for that you can mark fields as need confirmation, for example.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And for what my little ambition is just to make this a bit natural for the users. So because I need to sell the idea to the team, and the team will tell me this is Drupal default. There will be extra work to do it. So that's my actual motivation to solve this problem first. And if we can make them like you guys said, that would be awesome.
Well, it would be nice to bring this page into the 21st century, right? Because this is a pretty old.
Or even the 19th century, maybe?
There's a lot of help text going on, and
Yeah, and then do you guys what's the best way to proceed?
Because the current issue is at comment 157. And there you go. Hey guys, what about this whole new idea? Yeah. So for me, 150 is about that point in an issue where we either know what we're going to do, or we probably have to start over, maybe.
Shall I create a new issue, you mean?
What do people think? You could create a new issue, and then of course you'd need to link it back to this one. We could also add the idea here, see if we get to a consensus and implement in the next issue, or we make a 300 comment issue here. And they're all not ideal, but
I think maybe if we see this as a more generic pattern, then we could open an issue for, say, we want a confirmation pop-ups for required fields, and we ask question X, and then we propose something there. And then we can say, here we have a nice solution for problems like this, and then link to that issue and say, we can fix it with that. Maybe like that.
Yeah. That sounds like a good idea to me.
Gabor, do you have feelings about this?
Yeah.
Drupal politics. Let's hear it.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I don't know. It's hard to tell how it's they're gonna play out either way.
Mm.
Yeah.
I would say start a new issue, and outline the more generic or I mean, you have this example, right? So this is where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But what we discussed just here, that as a more generic or system level capability we'd be adding. Start a new issue, and we'll link it back to the existing one.
Yeah.
And see how that works.
Yeah, and normally for those changes, what will be the process to get this implemented? You maybe have an idea for this. So will like just someone pick up the issue and code it, or
in an ideal world, yes.
and in the less ideal world,
in a less ideal world, it never happens, or it happens 8 years later, and there's everything in between. What we want to do is people rewrite patches and code all the time, but not necessarily. People don't want to do it more than necessary, of course. So what we at first have to do is agree on the design itself. So if the community and maybe Gabor and maybe me say, well, yeah, we really like this, +1, let's do this. Then we have to look. Then somebody who knows about the code, ideally either writes a perfect patch right from the beginning, or somebody outlines, well, this means that, because there's maybe we need to come up with a technical approach, right? Because there's many ways to skin a cat in Drupal, and we sometimes see that people start with the more naive version of an implementation, and then we think it's ready, and then it gets reviewed from somebody who really knows, and then say, no, this goes there, this goes there. And ideally, we get that look from somebody sooner rather than later, after we've finalized the design.
Yeah.
I think for now you should create your new issue and outline the proposal.
Yeah.
Maybe explain how it's different and hopefully better than other ideas for the profile page, if we want to do specific, if you want to be specific about the profile page, and then we get some feedback and take it from there.
I think it could also help if you add some links or examples from other systems that this is a proven pattern.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah, cool. I will start this, create this issue, and add the information we just mentioned. Yeah, and link to the existing issue as well.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's all I have to share. Yeah.
I want this in Drupal. Woo!
Thank you.
Cool. So we do not have any other pre-discussed items to talk about. Are there any other topics that people wanted to bring up?
Okay.
Roy, do you have specific ones from the usability tag, or
no?
just...
That was me just dumping a link. Sorry. If I have a quick scan of what's moving. Oh yeah, of course, that fun one about the security coverage thing. Let's see. Yes, maybe I can show that for a bit. It's a complex issue, but I all the more need feedback on it then. Let's see. Update status should indicate. Oh, let's see if I can share screen. Yes, I can. Update status should indicate security coverage 2766491. If you have, it's a long story. What's the problem to solve? Projects that contribute modules without a stable release and that don't opt into the security advisory coverage. I'm still not sure. Is this an automated scan actually? Do people know? Is this some scan that runs on releases? Or is this people looking at modules? It's probably a scan of something, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. On your available updates page, we want to add the information about whether a module is covered by that security advisory policy.
Because so recently Drupal.org changed, and it now allows people to create full projects without them having necessarily security coverage. And so we need to update Drupal so that it indicates whether a project has security coverage or not.
Exactly.
Follow along with how Drupal.org changed.
Let's see, one of the first ideas, well, not necessarily the first, but if unprepared, the current page as it looks is one big table of stuff, right? Let's see if we have screenshots. Right, this could be one of the, so Drupal core is up to date. It's 8.2.7 here. Oops. And
Do
it's
you
up to
intend
date.
to share a screen, or?
Sorry?
You're not sharing a screen, right?
Am I not?
No.
No.
I thought I was. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was visualizing everything you said, but
Oh, no, then the button for sharing screen does not work then. Sorry. No, won't let me screen share. Then we'll have to revisit it. Sorry, I was thinking you were looking at things. And we skip it, sorry.
So I can share it. I think this is it.
Yes.
So
great.
You can continue.
Yes. Let's see. There's Drupal core at the top, and then there's multiple available versions. So there's a recommended version of 8.3.2 and a dev version. And right at the top of the, for core, right here you see that there's a version that is actually covered by the security advisory policy, and there's a development version, and that is not covered. The same goes for modules that you might have installed. If you have a release candidate, it could still be up to date, as the check mark says, but because it's a release candidate and not a full version, it's not covered by Drupal's security advisory policy. So the first change here is that I'm making a box for each project. And let's see. That's still not a complete idea because we have to show multiple available versions.
Yeah.
Let's see. Further down the thread, I guess maybe we should start from the bottom now and scroll up. What if, so there's the version where we, for each individual release, so within a project, we could have like 3 releases. As you can see here, there's a project and it has an installed version that needs a security update. There is a security update available, 8.x.2.5, and there's an also available 3.0. So we could either add the text about it being covered by the security advisory policy to each individual release. So in this box, each of the 3 releases would have that sentence because it is covered. But, and what we're looking at here is another approach that Antje came up with, basically, and I wanted to explore a bit. We could also group the whole list of installed modules by projects that are currently covered by or not covered by the security advisory policy. And that decision would be made based on the version you currently have installed. So this project name that is not covered, that is a release candidate 3. Hey, there's a 1.0 available now. We recommend you install this, and the next time that this project would be in the top, in that section above, right, where it is actually covered by the security advisory. It helps not having to point that out for each release by grouping this by covered and not covered. It also makes the whole security advisory thing quite important, right? Because we define buckets for it. And I think if you scroll a bit to above to the previous wireframe, you see where we came from. Yeah, there's also an indication we have to do, but
my first response is that I like it because it's not so crowded. And we're not repeating the same sentence.
Yep.
It's not relying too much on icons. That's also cool. What I find a bit less is that it's at the bottom of the page. Maybe it would be cool if we can have at the top, like we now have on the status page, some kind of summary. There are so many not covered modules with an anchor link, and then you can jump to that group.
It's nice. That's a nice pattern. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. My biggest concern with this is that it does make the security coverage one of the most important hierarchical things on the page. And so the question is that one of the most important things for people who are on the updates page?
Sorry, what do you mean?
I think the primary reason that people would come here is to figure out which projects have a security update to them. And theoretically, security updates would only be provided for things that are covered by the security advisory policy.
Just a question on that, because when you have a project, a module, where you don't opt into the security advisory, you can still have a security update for your module, right?
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
think.
Yes, you can. So I can have a module where I haven't opted in and still say, this is a security update. This is not just a normal update. This is a security one.
Yeah, he is
In the
release
section
candidate
that is
4
not
because
covered,
yeah.
you still have the ones that say security update required.
So maybe that process changed because earlier on Drupal.org, when you were putting out the release, and if you checked it's a security update, then the security team was required to review that and publish the release.
Mhm.
And that may have changed.
Is that still the case?
Changed. I don't know.
Because if that still is the case, then we won't have any security updates in the section at the bottom that says this is not covered. That would make sense as well. But then we need to know whether this is the knowing of whether involving the security team is still the case. Have I just made this even more complicated?
Yeah, I'm not up to date on that current process there, unfortunately.
So what's the question again? Can not covered
Modules have a security
project
update.
provides security.
Yeah, can modules provide a security release without the security team involved? Because like the security advisory, so is the security advisory process required for a security release to be made?
Mm-hmm.
Because if so, then security releases will only appear in the top part, because only those could have security updates.
And then you know quite clearly that everything that is in the bottom section, you're on your own there.
Yeah.
So that makes it quite clear that down there you have to have your own judgment.
Here be dragons. Yeah, so I agree. When I was making it, I was, I think it's possibly a good idea. It is pretty prominent, right? We reduced the redundancy of repeating all that text by making it like the main organizing principle on the page. I can imagine the security team might like that, but I'm getting little feedback so far. So that's why I brought it up here. So we at least have that question, right? For security releases by not supported. I'll and the summary on top suggestion is an interesting one.
Something that I don't understand is you are using green, red, and yellow at the same time in some of the blocks, and I find it a little bit confusing. Why?
Oh, that's a mistake actually. If you scroll a bit more to the top for core, there's an error. What it currently does is that if there's a security release, the whole box is colored red. This is actually what happens now. Mm-hmm. And I forgot to update it. What I'm proposing to do is in the next section, so your current installed version for project name has a security update. The one you should install is the security update, and that one is green. I made that would be another change. So instead of this whole box with its 3 rows and coloring all of them red, maybe it would help to color the thing you probably want to install not red but maybe green.
Yeah, I think the reason for the 3 colors is the red is what you want to get rid of. Yeah. And the green is what you want instead, and the yellow is what you may have if you want to.
Yeah.
But it's not necessary. So it's all about the same project, but the red version is you want to get rid of. The green is what you want to move on to.
Exactly. I mean, for me, the confusing part is having the 3 colors on the same project. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe the buttons or the links will have, I don't know, thinking loud, will have a different color or an icon. I mean, this one is the green, this one is the cork one, or I don't know.
I mean, this is a continuation of the current usage of the color, but changing how it's applied. I never liked the whole full color background stuff. So it's still more of a wireframe than a visual design. So I'd rather see somebody have a closer look at it. The other thing is that I'm changing quite a lot here on the page, right? And there's also something to be said. What is the minimal change we could do? And the minimal change would probably be adding that sentence to all the projects. I'm kind of have been pushing back on that because the current page as it is already very crowded. We're basically already torturing the idea of what can be in a table, I think. So just breaking each project into its own box with its own rows would be a useful thing, and I escalated from there. So
I think splitting the list in 2 different sections, with or without security advisory, is also a minimal change that would be viable.
Yeah.
And just leaving them as they are for now, and just starting with the splitting the page.
Yeah.
And then taking changes from there.
Yeah, that could be a useful approach to gradually introduce improvements here. Okay, thanks for the feedback. Time's up.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey.
Good job, everyone.
Somebody has to say it.
Yeah.
Bye.